I think that's what always bothered me about the Christian idea of heaven. I was raised loosely, thank God, a Southern Baptist, but it was enough. I got enough to screw me up. But the idea of heaven, I used to obsess about it when I was a really little kid. One of my earliest memories, I could sit and contemplate a city of light and people smiling and happy and worshiping God. And it was never night. It was always light, and the streets were gold, and everybody was just deliriously happy. And I used to sit and think about that and repeat the word forever and forever and forever and forever and forever and forever and forever until I would be almost like catatonic, frozen in horror at the idea of, I now think, probably being cooped up with the people I saw in church for never-ending time.
And you're telling it starts feeling really claustrophobic.
Yeah. Oh, I would. It was like that. It was like claustrophobia.
Right.
Just increasing. What a nightmare.
Right. Right.
You know, that's the wonderful thing about death. Yeah, it would be in a right bloody mess if it weren't for death. Can you imagine being no way out? I mean, if things ever get bad enough, you could pull your own plug.
Yeah.
And we all know that deep, deep down, no matter what we say.
It's interesting because you always, I mean, for me, and I think most people, death is kind of as a negative that you block out of your consciousness and you're trying to keep from happening. You never think of it as a positive, in that positive light. It's kind of revelatory to think of it that way.
For many a time I have been half in love with easeful death, called him soft names in many a mused rhyme. Now seems it ever more rich, now more than ever seems it rich to die, to cease upon the midnight with no pain. With no pain. Remember that. Please, no pain.
And there's the rub, right?
Is that Keats, I think, maybe? I don't know. I don't know.
But then it just seemed like it was a nice segue to Hamlet, you know, and asking whether, you know, because the problem is I can't quote Ham because I was trying to remember what the quote is, and then he's the quoter.
Life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. A poor actor who struts his time upon the stage. To sleep. Yeah. To sleep. I think I'm mangling that. Does this fit together?
See, that's the thing. I don't know.
You know, now seems that, you know, to sleep, perchance to dream. That's the rub. You may wake up with a pitchfork in your backside, which is what a lot of Christians, unfortunately, you know, are just basically covering their rear ends with what they call fire insurance.
Oh, yeah. Well, how about the rest of us who believe in some form of reincarnation and that in some ways, you know, that's just as bad or worse. It's coming back.
See Groundhog Day.
And having to...
You put your little hand in mine.
Reap what you've sown in this life to really experience the consequences.
No, that's just.
It is just. But hey, it's just because it's just doesn't mean it's pleasant.
Life wasn't put here to be pleasant. It's here to be excruciatingly painful.
If you're really honest and think about all of the things that you've done in your life, I mean, if I just look at my life, I think, oh God, you know.
I look at my life and I say, no comment. If she says, oh God.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God, Zilla.
Just all the little.
And then you get old and die on top of it. I was thinking of another poem actually from the by W.H. Auden from The Ascent of F6. When the green field, and this is a brilliant poem. To me, it always evokes the aging process, getting old. When the green field comes off like a lid, exposing what was much better hid, unpleasant. And look, the woods have come up from behind and are standing round in deadly crescent, and the bolt is sliding in its groove. Outside the window stands the black collector's van, and now, with sudden, swift emergence, come the humpback surgeons, the women in dark glasses, and the scissor man.
Woo! This sounds like the Halloween show.
Welcome to Monster Chiller Theater.
And that poem is?
I said W.H. Auden, The Ascent of F6. To repeat
I
myself.
guess obviously I wasn't listening. I've just been exposed.
On the test.
Wow.
Well, this is a ramble kind of catch.
I've always had
kind of,
so much trouble with poetry, to be honest, and that may be what I just revealed was my trouble with poetry. I am such a literalist. It's no surprise that I went into science when I went into college. As much as I loved, that my mind really, I would say, goes more towards, like I've talked before, politics, political science, history. But my mind works in such a scientific way, clear-cut, literal. Metaphors just leave me cold. I find like when I'm reading an article in a magazine that's about an idea, and they're describing a scientist or an author or something, and the writer of the article will go into some flowery language to try and describe the person. I'll just skip that. I'm like, I don't care what color hair they have. I don't care what clothes they're wearing. I'm just not interested in your attempts to.
You're telling me you read Lady Chatterley's Lover that way? Those scenes of.
No, I said when I read a magazine article.
Oh, in a magazine article.
But most, even I don't read
really
novels.
skilled,
I don't read hardly any novels because I find that so rarely done well. And then poetry, it's like, what do you mean the scissor man? I guess maybe my imagination is faulty.
I would say it is. It sounds like it. It's evocative. Poem. It's like abstract art. I mean, I guess you don't like that either.
Hate it.
Because it. See, we're learning stuff about each other. We've been together for 30 years, and still fresh surprises. You have no imagination. Probably why you like my songs, because my songs are dead simple.
They are. They're very literal.
They say what they mean, but look, I mean...
Well, tell me.
Oh, Mama, can this really be the end, to be stuck inside a mobile with the Memphis Blues again?
Oh, that's very evocative.
It's very evocative. Well, so's the Scissor Man. When you're talking about, you think about it in terms of being old.
Yeah.
The women in dark glasses, how women cut their long hair and put dye haircuts when they get older.
Yeah.
And they come around in dark glasses and they're joyless. And there are women like that who've given up on whatever they've given up on, and it's just bare bones. The humpback surgeons. What a way to put it. I was paralyzed once in the hospital, and they had to draw blood a lot to see what was wrong with me. And I woke up, and this intern, it was a teaching hospital in Staten Island, and I woke up, and this really tall, mosquito-thin intern was bending over my arm, examining my veins.
Ooh,
to see where to stick the needle. And it was humpback surgeons, women in dark glasses, and the Scissor Man is supposed to let your imagination just run with that.
Yeah.
A grotesquerie, something out of, what were they, Bruegel? Bruegel?
Yeah.
Just a bizarre nightmare image of reality starting to come unglued as you're facing the final indignities of decay and death. That's my interpretation.
Well, yeah. I mean, whenever I hear you
that's what it's meant to do.
that.
Like our buddy that was over here, the artist who was over here the other night. You don't know what that means, but it's beautiful and it's evocative. I don't necessarily get any clear pictures from that particular piece, but
well, when I was in,
it opens up possibilities. It frees your mind from that rigid scientific. A is A and B is B, and forever they will forever be that way. Well, maybe not. Maybe the mystical, the metaphysical, requires us to break out of that.
Well,
context.
I've said there's not a mystical bone in my body, and maybe when I say that, this is kind of what I mean. Is like I am so like rigidly. So what would it be? Right brain? I mean, so just based on logic and not wanting anything of.
Because I think you're kind of in touch with a limitation here. You're kind of in touch with the limitation of an attitude about poetry.
Well, I mean, and it's not like something I haven't known about myself. I've just always. Actually, that's not true. I've thought there was something wrong with poetry.
That sounds like an attitude, all right. I mean, it's formidable. It's like philosophy. A lot of what we talk about, we call ourselves lay philosophers because we think, we hope, we're still understandable. We're a professional philosopher. It's couched in such a system of language that's built around it that's basically indecipherable to the layperson. and I'm a little suspect of that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it should be accessible. I mean, I think ideally, Annie Dillard wrote, one of her books is called Write Like You're Dying. And I think art should be, you have to do it. You're just forced to do it.
Yeah, you started off saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a song about songwriting. The labor pain hits me again. A song is being born. You must get free. Won't let me be. It's nagging like a thorn. It's grown inside a rising tide that's bound to overflow. And through my pen, my thoughts descend, take shape and start to grow. With ballpoint primed, my feelings rhymed, the page is filling in. The melody, so soon to be, is keeping time within. I never doubt what it's about in spite of all I do. The bottom line's the same each time. It's always, I love you, in some way, shape, or form. But that's it. It's an automatic process. That's art. And I think, ideally, that relationship, if it's self-expression that comes because it has to come, it will find an appreciator. Artists don't just send this out like radio beacons. Well, maybe they do, into deep space, hoping for a receiver, someone to receive it, someone to say, yeah, I hear that too.